All right, so let's talk about the AKG C104 because this microphone has a secret.
From the mind of Mark Yoshimoto Nemkov.
Because if you just look at it, you're not necessarily expecting much drama. It doesn't exactly walk into the room like it owns the place. It's not screaming legendary capsule. It's not wrapped in mystique. And it's definitely not showing up with a price tag that suggests it was assembled by monks under a full moon. No, it's $129. $129. Which is usually right around the price point where you start preparing yourself emotionally for disappointment, right? But the weird thing about the C104 is it's actually kind of good. And I mean, not like kind of good for the money, not like, well, if you squint, kind of good. I mean, like actually good. And what makes it so interesting is that it doesn't sound like a timid little budget mic trying to stay out of trouble. This thing has a bit of a wild side, but in a really good way. I mean, there's real body in the sound, especially in the low mids. It gives the voice some size, some density, some authority. It doesn't come across thin or anemic like it needs 3 plugins and a pep talk before it's ready to work. It shows up with a sound that's already happening. And for voiceover, that matters. Because, the C104 feels less like a blank canvas and more like a mic that already understands the assignment. It's got some presence, it's got some forward motion, some attitude. It wants to sound like voiceover, especially commercial voiceover. Now, is it perfectly behaved? No. Absolutely not. That's part of the secret, though, because there's enough upper mid and top end energy here that depending on your voice, it may occasionally remind you that, the letter S was a mistake. So I do think that this is a mic that benefits from a little sibilance management. Not because it's broken, not because it's harsh, just because it's lively. It's got a little edge to it, and sometimes that edge just needs a little adult supervision. But underneath that, there's still substance, and that is the part I really like about it. Now, it's not trying to fake clarity by hollowing out the voice. It still has enough low-mid support to sound grounded, which keeps it from turning into one of those cheap, bright mics that gives you detail, and also somehow removes your actual humanity. But, the C104, to me, sounds like a mic that is pretty much closely ready to go for VO right out of the box. I mean, give it a little bit of sibilance control, maybe a touch of your usual secret sauce, and there it is, done. It's not pretending to be ultra pristine or clinically invisible. It has character. And honestly, in this kind of work, character is often a lot more useful than purity. And that's why the C104 is so interesting to me, because at $129, it has no business being this viable. It looks unassuming, maybe even a little polite, but then you hear it and realize, oh, wait a second, this one's got ideas, it's got body, it's got intelligibility, a little bite, and enough personality to make it feel like a real tool instead of just a cheap piece of gear you bought to satisfy your curiosity and then quietly buried in a drawer somewhere, right? You know exactly what I'm talking about. So no, I'm not saying it's the greatest microphone ever made, but, I'm saying that for $129, the C104 punches way above its class in a way that's genuinely hard not to respect. So it's a mic with a secret, and that secret is it's a little crazier than it looks, but in the very best way. And, in this game, you need to have the right tools in order to get ahead. And I really think you could gig with this mic. I really do think you can. Getting where you want to go, especially in voiceover, is not easy at all. And a lot of it is having the right vibe, the right sound for the gig that you're chasing. And, I talk a lot more about that in my book, The Modern Voiceover Career Owner's Manual. And, it's about capturing the essence of what makes you, you. And, having a mic that cuts through and a mic that does it with very little treatment. You really, I think for me, I need a little de-essing on it, but I think the EQ is pretty much in line with what I could just drop in as a VO track. So what do you think of the AKG C104? I have the 114 here too, and I'm going to review that at a future date. And let me just say that right off the bat, I don't think that they really compete with each other in terms of voiceover. I think they actually complement each other. But more about that later. Just tell me what you think about the C104, because for $129, I'm impressed, I try to feature stuff on this channel that I think has something special or interesting about it. And again, for $129, I'm thrilled to have this here on my desk, just in case I need to do something real quick. It's cool. But let me know in the comments. All right, until next time, this is Mark Yoshimoto Nemcoff, fading to black.